If you don't stay down and you never quit, come on over here and sit on the far end of the bench.
All right, here we are. We got to do this on the good days, on the bad days.
Rain, snow, or shine, we still here. Rain, snow, or shine.
It's good to see everybody back live, far end of the bench, post game, the Denver Nuggets playoff second round matchup, game one between them and the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Nuggets lose 106-99. First time they're trailing in a playoff series in the last two seasons. I heard that on the broadcast towards the end of the year, or towards the end of it. Kevin Harlan threw that out there, and it's a little bit surprising when you first think about it, but then it's been a while. This team last year was very dominant. We said it. This is going to be the series that separates you. So if you are going to be able to be a repeat champion, this is a good team to test yourself against. And since it is such a big matchup, since there is so much hype and so much interest, I happen to have somebody. He reached out to me. I'm glad he did, because I should have been smart enough to ask him myself. He worked with me a little bit on the radio station down at Western Colorado. We played football together. We were part of the same recruiting class, and now he's getting to talk about a pretty interesting time. So let's go ahead. Let's bring Jordan in, and then we'll be able to get you guys live and on camera the first time. Jordan, you're enjoying things a little bit. Welcome in. Thank you for coming on and bringing a new perspective to the far end of the bench. We appreciate you jumping on and giving our fans a little bit of your time and your expertise.
For sure. You always got to have both sides, I know that you guys probably were focused on the Denver Nuggets. I was focused on the Timberwolves, so you don't get to see both sides all 82 games. I fortunately have been able to, because I'm a diehard. Ever since Anthony Edwards got on the scene, it wasn't much to cheer about before, but now that there is – Eyes are glued the last 4 years.
All right, Nico, how are we feeling? What's the temperature? Let's gauge the temperature of the studio to see how much. I probably should have put on a striped shirt or something before we get rolling.
Well, let me start off. Thank you, Jordan, for joining us. I'm very happy to. Like I said, we love hearing outside info. We've done this multiple times, whether it be the Avs with talking to other series, or obviously the Nuggets now talking to other teams, and it's great. It's important to get these other things. And let me be very clear. I do not hate the Minnesota Timberwolves like I hate the Los Angeles Lakers, okay? There's so many ties that these two teams have, whether it be Tim Connolly, whether it be Flip Sanders, his son, on the Nuggets coaching staff. You can Monte Morris on the bench there. You could go down a list of things. And let's be honest with ourselves. I've said this since the beginning of the year. The Minnesota Timberwolves are built to beat the Denver Nuggets. They are built specifically with Gobert, and you don't make that trade for Gobert to not think that you're going to face Jokic in the playoffs. You don't go out and get a killer like Anthony Edwards because you think that you have a good point guard or whatever. This team is perfect. The team is built perfect, and I knew this is going to be a dog war. Like I said, it's unfortunate. I'm disappointed, and to be honest with you, I hate the way this team has played thus far in the playoffs through now 6 games. I hated every game of last series, and now going into game one, it seems like the same bullshit as the last 5 games. So it's obviously disappointing, and I'm just, like I said, it's unfortunate. I'm just waiting on a switch to get flipped, and it has not happened through 6 games.
Yeah, we have it. We knew that this was going to be the thing. He wants nothing more now that we got our haters, even though he's one of our most viewed and most recurring guests. But yes, it was a little bit tough pill to swallow. Jordan, let's talk about the Timberwolves and the season that this has been. Everybody knew that they were going to be good. They obviously made the playoffs last year. You kind of have to go in that system. But Anthony Edwards has proven himself. He's got a killer's mindset. He's a finisher. So he's going to be a handful no matter what. I have it scrolling down on the bottom of the screen. He had 43 points tonight. It's his third 40-point game in his career, and he's been in the NBA, 3 years? He was trying to decide whether he was going to be playing football at Georgia or coming to the NBA 3 years ago. So what has this Timberwolves team done this season to rebound and put themselves out and be in this position against the Denver Nuggets here?
Yeah, so just to correct you, fourth year for Anthony. But either way, super young cat. it's crazy to think because like we're not too far off of his age. We're like what 26, probably all of us here.
Yep.
And so it's crazy to think that a guy that probably graduated a few years shy of us that were freshmen while we were in high school is just lighting it up on an NBA court. But it started out kind of shaky at the start of the season. Not going to lie to you, we lost to some people that we shouldn't have. Toronto, I know to start the first couple games, first 3 games, and then Atlanta was another early loss that was kind of a shocker to us because everybody was thinking that was going to be one that at least was going to be close, but we got blown out by them. And then after they kind of got a little bit of balance into their life, was able to get onto some winning streaks, went into, I think, the All-Star break in first or tied for first. It was a close race the whole way through. But going into the season, as you guys have already noticed, Naz Reid as the 6th man of the year, played well all year. I know there's been a lot of controversy between that with Malik Monk, which was a scoring nightmare when he came off the bench. But in terms of all-around impact, I feel like Naz Reid was definitely deserving. Definitely see why there's some naysayers, but Naz Reid for sure, a game changer when he is on. When he's off, he could be the detriment of the whole game. As you saw tonight, in the first half, Anthony Edwards had 25 points. The rest of the team had 15. Didn't look very bright going into the second half, but then you had guys like Naz Reid go off for 14 in the fourth. And then Connolly turn it on, hit threes like he's supposed to from time to time. But that was kind of the tail of the season, either Naz Reid turning it on for him late in the game, early in the game, or vice versa with Ant. And then Cat was also one of those guys that was a big scorer for us. But really all around, I think the key points here to really key on are that the Timberwolves are deep. They're built to go into a deep playoff run, which we might see in this series. And that's something that Denver's going to have to combat with Nikhil Alexander-Walker, somebody that gets overshadowed by his cousin Shea out in Oklahoma, but he's been playing really well off the bench. And so that's another guy that really should be a starter in another system, but is playing off the bench in a great team that is the Minnesota Timberwolves. And so it's going to be a battle. We're here, game 1. We got the win, but I have a feeling that the Nuggets are going to come back in game 2 and probably punch us in the mouth. Not going to lie. Might be a repeat of last year where you blew us up by like 20 in game 1. I was actually at that game, sitting in the corner off the Timberwolves bench, and it was wild. But we'll see. It's kind of been a tale of 2 tapes, one with a lack of a bench on the Nuggets side, one with too much of a bench in some people's minds for the Timberwolves. But we'll see how it shakes out, honestly. Anthony Edwards was tired. Jokic is probably going to have to play all 48, if not 45. He might get 3 minutes off in a game. But it's going to be a grind. It's going to be whoever wants it the most.
All right, Nico, I want to ask you, what did you see on the Nuggets? Because since you were there in person, what did you see? What was the temperature on the sideline? Was there panic? This is now not new territory, but this is a little bit uncharted for a lot of these guys, especially like Christian Braun, who last year went on that 16-4 run with the team. What did you see out of this team? Because championship teams respond. You don't lose more than 1 game in a row in the playoffs, and you're in a good spot. So is this team, do you think they're in the right mental space to be able to come back in this series?
Well, first of all, it is far from over. It's not even close to being over. And the series, like I said, I'd be very surprised if this series did not go 6 or 7. But like I saw a lack of urgency. To start the game down 18-4, yeah, the Nuggets had a great close the first quarter to come back. That is not a run you should be having the first quarter. That is a run you make at the end of the game, third quarter, where it matters a little bit more. Digging yourself into a hole, a 14-point hole to right off the bat is utterly ridiculous. There's no, like I said, this is not the Los Angeles Lakers. This is not some walk in the park. This is, in my opinion, the second best team right now in the NBA, right there with the Nuggets. The winner of the series will win the NBA Finals, in my opinion. That's how highly I think of this team. And to just not show up right off the bat, just we were all sitting there dumbfounded. First 7 minutes, 4 points. I was like, what just happened? Am I watching the Washington Wizards versus the fucking dream team? Like, what the fuck is going on? And then we get into the rest of the game. The Nuggets flows. I look at that second and third quarter. It was a masterpiece because Jokic minutes were incredible. You get to that third quarter, beginning of that fourth quarter, and look, Mike Conley is in my opinion one of the most underrated guards in NBA history. The man has everywhere he's gone, he's been successful and been productive since he walked on the floor of Memphis. He's that good, and to let Naz Reid and look, like I said, I like Naz Reid. I have no problems with Naz Reid. Naz Reid can start on 75%. 75% of the NBA teams in the league would start Naz Reid in a second. He comes off the bench. And to have those two guys cook your second unit, cook AG, cook Peyton Watson in the post, to have Reggie Jackson just get blown by Mike Conley multiple times, it's just too little, too late. It's just too little, too late. And Jimmy, you said it perfectly. Last year, the bench consisted of Bruce Brown, Jeff Green, and Christian Brown were the main three off the bench. This year it's two guys that have never really played meaningful playoff minutes for this team, for the Nuggets, and another guy who is in his second year of his career as a sophomore, Christian Brown. And you throw in the rest of the second group, I'm just like, what are we doing? And look, the adjustments that the Nuggets did or did not make in Series 1 or against the Lakers, it's going to have to massively change. I would not be surprised if we saw DeAndre Jordan in the series. I would not be surprised if we saw some different mix and matches to alter the size. Because if you saw tonight, where did the Nuggets get their momentum? When Cat and Gobert got their fourth foul. That's when that momentum shifted. Because Naz Reid is an animal. Don't get me wrong. But if you take Cat and you take Gobert off the floor, both of them off the floor, there is no inside presence that can slow Jokic down. And like I said, I saw passiveness from Jokic from the start. I hated that too. He was trying to just make a pass. I was like, just shoot the fucking ball. I was sick and tired of it. And like I said, it's not the end of the world. I obviously am very disappointed with the result, but we didn't deserve to win that game. Like we did not. It felt like in our fourth quarter, let's try and steal one, and that's the worst part about it. And it feels like this team is just so damn complacent right now, and that's not something you need to have, especially when you face a team as good as Minnesota.
I feel like they needed a wake-up call. Jordan, the things that Minnesota did tonight, what were they, and how can they make them consistent moving forward so that they can it's not that they're going to struggle in the next series. This is definitely going to be the toughest matchup, but how are they going to continue to be consistent and keep the stranglehold on the series?
Yeah, so I think the key to consistency, at least in terms of the Timberwolves team, is really getting McDaniels involved. He had 0 points. He was 0 for 7 for field goals. Not sure how many threes he shot, maybe 2 or 3, but still was 0 for all across the board. If he doesn't score, it's going to be tough to win this whole series. Conley was able to come in with, I think, like 17 off the top of the head, and I think Towns had 20. But, yeah, sounds about right.
Towns had 20.
So he needs a score. He needs to score a lot more. Gobert did what he's going to do. Reed, on the other hand, definitely played his role in this game, scored off the bench, which we needed. It definitely in that fourth quarter because we didn't get it from anywhere else other than Carl in the third. But Morris needs to get more production if he's going to come off the bench for us. I'm actually surprised that they didn't pull Jordan McLaughlin off the bench, which is an undersought player, but he's shooting over 40% from the three right now, probably 50 from the corners. And so surprised that he wasn't kind of injected in here and there when they needed some scoring. On the other hand, I saw some times where they're leaving Holiday open on threes, which they can't have happen. Same thing with Caldwell Pope. They're being kind of lazy.
I'll be the first to say I would let Justin Holiday shoot 10 times out of 10. I would not let anyone else.
I hear you. I would expect the same out of him too, but for some reason, every time he plays the Timberwolves, he hits timely threes. He hits timely threes every time against the Timberwolves. At least every time I've watched. And so in terms of that, like, I really think the key to consistency throughout the series is getting Jaden McDaniels going offensively. He did well defensively. Actually shocked that he only had one personal foul throughout the whole game. He's been playing really well in terms of that all playoffs with keeping his fouls in check. That's been an issue with him in the past where he's been fouling out in late third, early fourth situations where we can't have him in the stretch. And when it comes to clutch defense, him and Anthony, when they are able to go on the two best players or two best scorers perimeterly wise, it's tough. It's tough to get around that. But other than that, I really think they needed to keep Anthony Edwards going, of course, which he's going to. It's inevitable. Same thing as Jokic in your guys' mind. It's inevitable. He's going to get going regardless if he goes 0 for whatever as he did in the beginning of the game. I think he went 0 for 4, 0 for 5 to start, but then got going. But that's not really where you want to see Jokic. I'm sure as a Denver fan, you want to see him making plays, passing the ball, as well as scoring. But yeah, I think key to consistency is really just getting Jaden McDaniels going. And then Nickeil Alexander-Walker offensively, definitely more points off the bench off of him. But
I feel like sorry to cut you off there, Jordan. I feel like in that third quarter, I remember seeing there specifically, I think it was like the 6-minute mark that third quarter, where I looked up and there was 56 points on the board from Minnesota, and we had I think 3 or 4 point lead, and Anthony Edwards and Karl-Anthony Towns had 45 of it. And I was like, all right, if this sustains like this, it's going to be successful. Because if you let these other pieces, and I've continued to say this, look, superstar basketball is over. It's team basketball. It takes every single man on the floor. This is the new era. If you look at all the teams left in the NBA playoffs right now, there are good players on each team, but there is 1 through 8 that are deep to each team. And that's why they're so good, right? So if you're able, like I said, I've said it with this last year with the Sun series, if you're able to control everybody else, the Nas Reeds of the world, the Mike Conley, the Nickeil Alexander-Walkers of the world, you have a very good chance to win it. Because like I said, there's no stopping Jokic, and let's be honest with ourselves, Anthony Edwards is at the same point. There's no slowing down.
There's so many times that I like how he's jumping and falling away from the rim, and it looks like he's shooting it from right underneath the basket.
There's no slowing him down. It's -0 nada. So what you can do is you can control what everyone else does, and like I said, that falls not on Aaron Gordon, who's guarding Cat or Ant every other possession, or it doesn't fall on KCP, who's guarding Conley guarding Ant for most of the game. It falls on Jamal Murray. It falls on Michael Porter Jr. It falls on Jokic to set a precedent that, you know what, if these guys can cook, fine offensively, but we're not letting anyone else continue to do that. And like I said, that's where things went haywire in that fourth quarter for the Nuggets. It's when the second unit, or not the second unit, but the secondary players for Minnesota that stepped up, and Denver was just looking at Jokic just to save us, please save us again, or Jamal, hey, when are you going to wake up? You had 0 points at the half. When are you going to save us? Keep doing that, and the season's going to be over quicker than you know.
Yeah, and to go off of that, I was watching your guys' series with the Lakers because I knew it was inevitable that we're going to face you guys. Even though all the national media was saying that the Lakers were going to make some,
they figured us out. They had a 3-0 moral victory after Game 1. I don't know if you saw that episode, but they were up big on us early.
They had us.
I was like, "There's no way, old man Rivers is going to make it past you guys with LeBron James and AD. They just didn't have enough power." But I knew it was inevitable that we're going to see you guys. And I was worried for you guys with how many late game executions that you guys had to pull off, that you guys were a little bit lackadaisical for sure.
Absolutely. That's been the story, like I said, through 6 games. It is the terrible starts. It's not holding on to the leads when you have it. It's at the end of the game saying, Jokic and Jamal, please save us. It's getting hands on your knees for the rest of the team to do that. And like I said, it's not sustainable. It's not going to last very long, and you're going to be a quick exit if you continue doing that. And like I said, look, the Nuggets are one of the best fourth quarter closing teams in the NBA. Like you said, when it comes to offensive efficiency in the fourth quarter, Denver Nuggets are number 1 by far, and it's not even close. But if you are able to control the rest of the game and control how you want to pace the game, because like I said, tonight what I saw from Minnesota, and I have not seen that, it was full court pickup the whole game. Full court pickup, and you rarely ever see that in the NBA today. Full court pickup, and Minnesota was controlling the tempo of the game, and we were just continuing to try to alter it, and that just led to the horrible start to the game. And like I said, look, it doesn't. I know we came back and we went on I think it was 21-3 run or whatever it was to end the first. I look at that and be like, that. Why couldn't we kept that until the fourth quarter? We know it's a game of runs. If you need to waste your massive run because you come out of the gate so slow, you're in for trouble. You're in for trouble.
I think I'm trying to find the quote because there's a quote from a book that I've been reading that goes very well with what we're talking about with the Nuggets here, and it goes with the question that I have up on the screen. Can the Nuggets play an A+ game? Because we have not seen a good game from them yet. It's always either been a comeback. I know it's cool to see Jamal Murray hit step back, fadeaway game winners, but every series, every game, it gets a little bit much. The quote goes along the lines, and it's by Seth Golden, who's like an inspirational speaker. And it says, everybody is paying attention to the guy who has to win in the last 2 minutes, last minute of the game. The guys that we should be impressed with are the ones who don't need the last 2 minutes. We should be impressed with the teams that don't need to have this Herculean effort in the fourth quarter. We don't need 8-point comebacks with 3.5 minutes left. We should be able to put ourselves in a position that we're in a spot where we just need to close out the game. We haven't talked about the Nuggets in really a closeout situation all playoffs. And the Timberwolves tonight in a closeout situation did what they had to do. I was listening to the game. Every time the Nuggets got a little bit close, big three, all of a sudden Anthony Edwards on the other end gets a easy shot, driving to the hole and one, and it's now a 7-point game. And you're still down, you got to make 3 shots. So what do the Nuggets need to do to play an A+ game? How do they pull themselves out of this funk that they've seen to have been in since the playoffs started?
I mean, for me personally, like if this team wants to get going at all, you need to get Jamal involved right away. Right away. I cannot see Jamal Murray go for 0 points again. Michael Porter Jr. has been an X factor throughout these 6 games. He's been incredible. There's no slowing him down. But right now, you need to get your number 2 guy playing and in the game right away. Right away, because we know Jamal Murray can hit shots, but it takes him 3 or 4 to get in a rhythm. And if we're waiting until the second half to see one fall in, it's just a problem. So I'd like to see Jamal get ready or get in the action early. And like I said, Jokic, when you start the game, at this point, how bad we've played to start every single game thus far in the playoffs, take initiative. Just take over offensively. I know Minnesota is playing the free safety role with Gobert and Cat guarding you one-on-one and Gobert playing that back end. You need to either A, figure it out how to adjust that defense or offensively, or B, just take Karl-Anthony Towns to the post and just to hit a fadeaway over him. Karl-Anthony Towns is not the best defender. He's not a terrible defender, but he's not Rudy Gobert by any means. If they decide that they're going to keep Gobert in the free safety, just punish him with the quick around the rim, not obviously at the rim, but around the rim, hook shots over the top of Cat because he's big enough to do that. And just take the initiative because, like I said, 6 games in, I am not here for KCP. We are not here for KCP and AG to get in fucking rhythm in the first quarter. I am here to get Jamal Murray to get in rhythm because we know how good he can be. And if it takes him that long to get in rhythm, then we're going to be trailing in every single game of the rest of the playoffs. It may not be much longer. So I would love to see get the core guys in rhythm and then have everyone else fall in. I thought Reggie Jackson had a very, very good first half. The second half, he was very, very quiet. Very, very quiet. So and he's usually the first or second sub off the bench right there with Christian Brown. So I want to see that adjustment. And like I said, if you're able to keep that momentum for ending games and just translate it to the first half, you can be having leads. You can have 8-point leads going into the second half. You can have these 6 to 5 to 8 point leads going to the fourth quarter where you're just like, you know what? We know we can late game execute, right? Now it's going to take Minnesota and the opposition to make these not Hail Mary plays, but make these big plays, these dunks and ones, threes, whatever it may be, where we're not trying to do that. We're playing our game and playing the way you can. Because, like I said, the pace of the game was completely dictated from the start by Minnesota. Picking up full court, not making life very, very miserable on whoever brought the ball to the court. And even when Jokic brought the ball to the court, Naz Reid and Karl-Anthony Towns and Gobert were picking him up right away. That's something very, very few teams do, and it is I think it's a huge adjustment by Chris Finch that was very, very genius because, like I said, you let him get in a rhythm. Anyone get in a rhythm, it usually turns into a bad thing, especially the Nuggets. And Minnesota being able to do that, I think was a great game plan. I would not be surprised if that continues the rest of the series.
Jordan, are your in-laws at least Nuggets fans? Can you give us some tips before? Dang. All right,
No,
I tried.
Utah Jazz fans. Utah Jazz.
Oh, okay. So that's I guess you're better. You're better than what they would be. No. Well, what do you think that the Nuggets can do? How do you see the Nuggets coming back and playing their what you would consider their A+ game? Because you said they're probably going to punch back. How are you seeing them answer, and how are you seeing them respond?
I think it's going to be with Jamal Murray and Jokic playing in the two-man game, all game probably, but being able to be very successful in it. Usually when they go to that, they eat the Timberwolves up. They're able to score on command, either if it's a pull-up by Jamal or it's an assist over to Jokic, which leads to other assists because either if he knows that it's a dumb play at the rim, he's going to kick it back out for a three to Porter or KCP. So I really think it's just getting Jamal going early. Him starting off as cold as he did definitely hindered you guys going into the second half, but he pulled through in the second half. He gave it his all. I think the big thing for me is your guys' health going forward. If you guys can stick together health wise, I think you guys are going to be able to give us the best run after this game for sure. But I noticed that was one thing that I took note of was that KCP changed his shoes 3 times during the game. And I noticed that the first time wasn't really sure why he switched it. Then I saw that he was slipping around when he was going up against Connolly. He was trying to get into his bag a little bit, slipped probably twice, maybe 3 times. And then he switched his shoes a 3rd time. And I wasn't sure if it was a uncomfortability with his ankle and how that's feeling from the last series when he rolled it a couple times, or if it was just the shoes were new, weren't broken in. Same thing with Murray, his health, his calf. I know that that's been something that has been bothering him all last series into this series. Just keeping tabs on those and making sure that those are healthy, making sure that he's taking the time to take care of himself. Because if those two are out of the series, period, it's over for you guys because the depth just isn't there.
And to add on to the point, another thing that I just hated, and I hated the first series against LA. We did this. We switched 1 through 4, and Jokic still. And look, I want Jaden McDaniels and Nikhil Alexander to beat me straight up. I need Aaron Gordon on Karl-Anthony Towns, and I need KCP on Anthony Edwards or AG on Anthony Edwards, and vice versa. I cannot.
Okay, actually, pause, because this is actually a key discussion point. Who would you rather? Because I've been hearing on all the pods I listen to that are Minnesota fanfare beat writers, whatever, that they would rather see that they think that the Denver Nuggets would be better suited to have Aaron Gordon matched up with Anthony Edwards, and then KCP somehow float, maybe play up against Karl-Anthony Towns. But it seems that they feel that Aaron Gordon is the bigger body, more athletic, should be able to keep up with Anthony Edwards, especially with the tangibles that he has.
I respect Cat's game that much that I think it's more suited for Aaron Gordon to guard that, because you saw in that third quarter what happened when you put Peyton Watson on him. What happened when you put Justin Holiday on Karl-Anthony Towns? He just ate it up. So that's why I'm a big component on keeping a big on a big. Obviously, if Cat's not in the game, it's just Gobert, then you obviously can put AG on Anthony Edwards. But AG has that versatility that's very, very rare. Obviously, last year during playoffs, he guarded LeBron, guarded AD at times. He guarded Anthony Edwards. He guarded Cat last year in playoffs. Guarded Jimmy Butler. Guarded Bam. He guarded KD. Guarded Booker. He's guarded everything 1 through 5. But the thing is, KCP, the reason why you brought KCP, and obviously he's not fully healthy. The leg problem his ankle has been a problem thus far, and I've seen him walk to the locker room more times than I can count right in front of my face. And look, KCP is still one of the best on-ball defenders we have, and if not the best on-ball defenders. He's probably our best wing defender. Obviously, AG is more strong, but he is not as fast as KCP, and this is where Jamal comes into play also, because Jamal for years has been saying, I need to get better defensively, and he still has not done it. And obviously, if you want to switch 1 through 4, it's just going to be miserable. It's going to be miserable, plain and simple. Because, like I said, I know Cat and Anthony Edwards are going to cook. Plain and simple. I know they're going to cook. And it's up to AG and it's up to KCP to slow them down. But what I need is them to force the ball into the opponent, into the other players' hands, Mike Conley, for instance, who's unfortunately getting older, even though I think that highly of him, you force the ball in those guys' hands to make plays and make tough shots, then it's going to be a much better defensive possession. Because last series in the playoffs, I just saw over and over again where LeBron would get switched on Jamal, or LeBron would get switched on to MPJ, or whatever it may be. And I hate seeing that again, where you're just switching everything because you have that level of depth, which you don't, because you had it last year, and Bruce Brown and Jeff Green were that level of depth defensively. But frankly, and now frankly, Peyton Watson and Christian Brown defensively are not nearly as good as they were. So you do not have that versatility. You need to stick with your matchups, get through picks, and that it just drives me crazy watching that happen. It really has been, and it's been 6 games that they've done it every single time. I understand that you're trying to rest your legs and everything, but this is the freaking playoffs. This is probably the toughest series both these teams will have all playoffs. Because I think either one of us walked through OKC slash Dallas, and then on the other side, who knows what Boston's going to look like, especially without Porzingis. So, like I said, I just want to see some adjustments defensively that are specific to the team, because it's no longer defensive adjustments to what you're doing. It should be defensive adjustments to what the other team is doing. And when you have killers like Ant on the other team, you have to make those adjustments for them, not just because you think we can do this. No, I know that this is our strength. This is what we need to play to it.
All right, let's get into some predictions for Game 2, Monday, May 6th at 8 p.m. By the way, everybody, May the 4th be with you. I forgot we're doing a live show. So Star Wars, it is Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you. Enjoy Return of the Jedi or some shit like that. Placate you. Try and get in the nerd algorithm, Nico, when I take this and post it on a clip for TikTok for scandalous views or I can't think of the word off the top of my head. Predictions for Game 2, 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. We'll be back live after the game for post-game reactions. But Jordan, since you are our guest and you're taking the time, we appreciate it. What is your prediction for Game 2? You already said that you think the Nuggets are going to come out swinging. If you had to put a number on it, if you had to decide one way or the other, how do you see Game 2 ending up? Are we going back to Minnesota 1-1, or do you possibly steal 2 in Denver and set yourselves up for an absolute killer end to this series?
I will say that I think you guys are going to pick up Game 2. I'd be shocked, honestly, if we came out of Game 2 with a win. Not completely shocked, just due to the implications that are at hand with the health of the Denver Nuggets and the depth. But I think if you guys win Game 2, it'll go to either 5 or 6. But if we win Game 2, I'm saying a sweep. I'm saying a sweep, and it'll be a jaw dropper. And then all the Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant comparisons to Anthony Edwards won't end all summer, regardless of what happens in the next round. Yeah, it'll be crazy to see. Of course, being a Timberwolves fan, I hope to see that we have the next coming. But it's all in the universe, man. We will have to see.
Jamie, you're muted. It's all right, buddy.
I did not expect it. I'm shocked. I'm in shock. I did not expect wow, a sweep. Possibility of a sweep. Okay.
Good. I want to hear that. I hope ESPN says that.
It's a bold prediction. It's a bold prediction.
That is
up
there for hottest take of the moment right now, or will be freezing cold by the time the series is over. It might not even be that cold. I feel like if it goes 7 either way, whichever way it finishes, that's kind of you put it's not like you were too outlandish there. Nico, what's your prediction for Game 2?
I'll put my livelihood on the line. The fact that even if we lose Game 2, we won't get swept. Because if you haven't noticed, there's one team that doesn't fucking lie dead, and it's the Denver Nuggets. It's in the games, it's in series. Go back to the bubble, ask Los Angeles Clippers and ask Utah Jazz what those 3-1 leagues look like. So this team will not lie dead. I know that for a fact. The one thing I will say is, like I said, it's a must win in my opinion. It is a must win. This Nuggets team is a very good road team. Obviously, winning 2 in the finals last year on the road in Miami is huge. Winning 3 in LA the last 2 seasons on the road. This team is a good road team. It absolutely is a good road team. So it helps you. It helps you have a positive outlook that you can get home court back. But like I said, I need an urgency. I need an urgency game too. And if you don't play the urgency game too, like I said, I would not be surprised if it ends at 5 or 6. I would not say it's going to end a sweep. I'm not going to go that far. But if you don't show any urgency and no lack of energy at all, the series will be over quicker than you know it.
I am predicting that the Nuggets will answer, just because it would be wild for me to see them go from never losing in a playoff series for 2 years and then all of a sudden going down 0-2. I think that they have enough championship metal to them. This will be a wake-up call. And Michael Malone's the kind of coach that can use this to the advantage. If it was another coach, say Darvin Ham, a guy like that where you don't have the respect of the locker room, and you come in and say, guys, we just got our asses handed to us. Like, we shouldn't have even been close enough to be within 7 in the fourth quarter with the way that we let these bench guys go off. Michael Malone can come into the locker room and say that. Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, I feel like if he's going to address the team, he first has to say, I know I have not been myself and I need to play better. I'm going to do what I need to play better. But I do think that the stars will step up. The role players will play better. Everybody knows that this is high stakes poker now. It is there's no more dilly dallying around. We're not skipping through the meadow playing the Los Angeles Lakers and LeBron Bonds. That's the kids that I teach, the 7th graders, and Castle Rock nickname for LeBron is LeBon Bon. LeBon Bon is no longer skipping through the meadows, allowing us to move on to the next round of the playoffs. We're gonna have to take out King Cobra, who's ready to strike. Anthony Edwards is that dangerous, that deadly. His venom is potent, and he showed it tonight. I mean, that was a huge performance by him in Game 1 with 43 points. Jordan, we appreciate it again coming on. I want to say, by the way, congratulations on the baby. I know that he's fairly young. You told me he thought you were going to break the TV at some points during the game tonight, but that's awesome to see. It's cool to see guys that you came into college. We came into college together as dumb 18-year-old kids who were like trying to figure out who on the football team was going to be able to go to the liquor store and buy us beer or booze in Gunnison, Colorado.
Burnett's, nasties.
Yeah,
that's what it was.
I did. I loved the Burnett's. I liked Black Velvet a time or two just because it was a cheap and a large quantity. But yeah, and now you're a father. So I congratulations on that milestone, and we appreciate you coming on and taking the time, giving us the Minnesota perspective. And it was nice to get you on again because it has been a while. It's kind of sickening to think about, but it's been a while since we've been on the radio down at Quisby, running Gunnison Sports Talk Radio.
Yeah. Hey, and I wanna pull receipts here. I remember the last time I think that we had the radio show, we were talking about pre-draft thoughts, and it was the Justin Herbert draft. I said, watch Justin Herbert. Watch him. He's gonna be dangerous.
Oh man!
Look what happened.
How many playoff games has he won?
Not many, but hey, it's because he had a schmuck behind the controls.
You could take the team out of San Diego, but you can't take the San Diego out of the team.
I forgot about that, and we didn't get to finish up that semester of the show either because that was COVID shut us down, so we weren't able to do the last little bit post draft and everything like that. So no, it was awesome to have you on. It's always good to connect with somebody out of Gunny. I feel like that place just has a special bond and it bonds people for life. And you're obviously doing really well with everything. It's nice to see. So it's good to come on here and have you be able to catch up a little bit. We'll have you on a little bit more throughout the series if you're available. Always take an extra opinion. We'll be on live every playoff game moving forward. Once the Avalanche series is set, we'll also be going live through those games. Once we'll try and work it around Nico's travel schedule, so everything will get figured out like that. Be sure to follow at FEOTB Pod. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Jordan, you have anything you want people to follow you on social media? I don't know.
Not quite yet. It's in the works, but not quite yet.
There you go. That's what we call in the business a tease. Jordan's got a little tease for the people. So there is something coming, but we do appreciate him being on here and joining the far end of the bench. Post-game, Nuggets, round 2, game 1. Minnesota Timberwolves win 106-99. For myself, Jimmy Pilato, my co-host, Nico Bryant, our guest, Jordan Carls. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Far End of the Bench podcast. We will see you next time.
Peace.
If you don't stay down and you never quit, come on over here and sit on the far end of the bench.